tea is hot today. Well, that's actually coffee, but whatever. What's going on, my babies, my darlings, my loves? It is your glowed up geek girl Tay, and we have a doozy for you today. Now, I went to bed knowing I was going to make this video, and I'm glad I waited to make it because the homie Def Noodles released a video that gave a little bit more insight into this whole Trisha, Jeffree, Hair by Jay debacle. And first of all, Def Noodles is one of my YouTube crushes. Mwah, here for you always and forever. And he goes a little bit more in depth than I will be doing, so I'm going to link his video down below. I want to keep it real with y'all. I have no sympathy for Miss Trisha Paytas. None whatsoever. There's no more tears left here for you to see. Not at all. Because, baby, when you do wrong, wrong comes back to you. When you do harm, harm comes back to you. I'm not saying she deserved it. But God's timing is always right. Listen, the way Trisha has come for people unprovoked and the way she has harmed communities, marginalized communities, there's no way I can feel bad for her in this moment. Just none at all. Listen, a lot of you guys are here because of the video that I did last year when Trisha claimed to have DID. I couldn't let that sit. So I spoke up. And I moved away from speaking for Trisha. Lord knows there was enough foolishness and fuckery that woman participated in last year for me to build an entire YouTube career off of reacting to her foolishness. But I decided not to because that's just not the wave. That's not the vibe for me. I'm here because I want to build relationship. I want to build community. I want to share my thoughts with the people who say they want to know who Tay is. Now, the reason I'm responding to this one is because the crows have come home to roost. Now, again, I'm not saying she deserved the threats. She didn't deserve the treatment that Jeffree and Hair by Jay and whoever else was out there in Vegas dealt her. But baby, when you hang with trash, you can't expect not to stink. I find this funny coming from a woman who unprovoked came for Tati last year. She ended up doing the same thing Tati did. She was like, I hung out with a lion expecting not to get bit. How do you sit back and watch someone be horrible to other people and expect them not to treat you horribly at some point in time? That's foolishness. That's naivete is what that is. And you're learning. I'm sorry you had to learn this way, but you learn it. And I hope with all my might, and maybe I should have saved this for the end, but I have to get this out right now. I hope that you are learning to be a better person because of this. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? I didn't realize that Jay was responding to a video that Trisha had made. I thought that he was just on a live stream. Maybe somebody had asked him about the Trisha situation and he was like, oh, let me give you all the tea. No, Trisha uploaded a video on New Year's Eve. It's titled Arby's Jamocha Shake and French Fries, to the best of my memory. And I watched it this morning. So she talks about everything like she normally does in her videos. She rambles on and on about whatever thought comes into her head. And then she does go into detail about what happened in Vegas. Now, you and I know that this whole Vegas trip happened in February of 2020. And in the video, Trisha is talking about how, her friendships have affected her. And she goes and talk about Jeffree. And she's like, the thing that happened with Jeffree really hurt because Jeffree and I were just friends. And she's like, we weren't making a palette together. We weren't, collabing on any videos, even though he did go on her podcast a few times. She was like, we were just friends. Like, there was nothing to be gained by me being in his life, basically. And I see that. And she said that there was a time where, like, she had gone to his new house and they had just sat and talked. And She was like, we opened up about so many things to each other. I've been there. I've been there when you sit down and you share your wants, your dreams, your hopes, and your fears and secrets from your past with somebody, and you think that you've created this bond, and then they turn around and treat you like that. Oh, baby. There are a few things in the world that hurt worse than that. But again, you knew the type of person that Jeffree was. And I guess you were just sitting there hoping that if he truly cared about you, he wouldn't treat you the way he treated other people. Because see, the thing that people seem to forget is that Jeffree gains and loses friends like that. Every friend that he has had, we here in this community have seen him fall out with. We may not know the ins and outs of it, like we do in this case, but we're like, what happened? He's lost every friend that he's ever had, and he's the common denominator. She talks about how she left the trip early and how they ditched her. I'm looking at my notes, by the way, and how they ditched her the entire trip. I would leave too. I would leave too. Like, there's so much stuff that she talks about that happened on this trip. Like, I'm surprised she didn't speak up, but she explains why she didn't speak up. She's like, anybody that speaks about Jeffree gets canceled. And child, you've been canceled so many times. That should be water off a duck's back for you. Anyway, she talked about how she gave him something and he kind of scoffed at it. And then she found out he regifted it to Rich Lux. I'm like, I'm not laughing because that's funny. I'm just sitting here like, how did you think that wasn't going to happen to you? Then here's the thing that I think set all of this off, where she's talking about, she doesn't mention him by name in the video. She just says Jeffree's wig guy, and it ends up being Hair by Jay, where she talks about how he charged her, I think, maybe $1,500 more than he normally charges. And he didn't contact her until after she had gotten back from Vegas. And I'm like, is that what set all of this off? For real? That is petty. That is a level of petty that I don't think I could ever possess. She says that she's like, I asked you for the price of the wigs and the install days in advance, and you didn't want to give it to me. That's bad. That's poor business practices, my dude. That's poor business practice, and that doesn't reflect well on you. And Jeffree won't always be there to protect you. So, be better. Do better, be better. Now I'm watching Trisha's video, and she mentions it in this video and in her reaction to Hair by Jay's live stream about Shane. All of us are wondering, where is Shane in all of this? I don't expect Shane to really speak up because he's still technically in hiding, even though he pops up on Instagram every now and again to be like, hey, I'm having a sale on my merch. I don't expect you to buy anything, but, you know, I love you. Please support me. Please allow me to keep paying this mortgage. Anyway, I'm really trying not to be salty, but it's frustrating and a little bit exhilarating to see these people who have been horrid get their comeuppance. And I know schadenfreude is something that's not to be indulged in, but like I said, the universe always balances itself out. And like the 21st century poet Justin Timberlake said, what goes around, goes around, goes around, comes all the way back around. I promise that's the last time I'm going to sing in this video. But it's the truth. It's the truth. This is the bed you made, my lass. This is the situation you put yourself in. My thought when asking where Shane is, I'm like, did you tell him about any of this? Now, in her reaction to Hair by Jay's live, she was like, I told Shane, but to see everybody still supporting Jeffree and still supporting this man, and it hurts, it hurts. I'm like, did you honestly sit down and talk to Shane? Because if we're going to have conversations about anybody being a bad friend out in these YouTube streets, if he and Rylan are still out here, because Jeffree was on Rylan's podcast, what was it, last month? 2 months ago, maybe back in November? And they were having a laugh and a kiki. So if they're still breaking bread with Jeffree and leaving you out to dry, how are you still calling Shane a friend? I'm going to touch on that a little bit more later. Trisha goes on to say that she feels bad for Jeffree because she feels like he's alone. Sweetheart, when you are a bad person, people don't want to be around that. When your aura is fucked up, people can feel that. I'm an intuitive person. I can tell within a day or two whether or not I want to be around somebody. And my intuition, 9 times out of 10, has been on point. Every time I have told somebody, that's not a good person, I don't think you should be around them, I have been proven right. It might not have been that next week, that next month, or next year, but eventually that person shows who they are. I had a friend recently come back into my life. He had gotten married way too quick, and I told him, this is not the one for you. I wish you would take in your time. And he fought me tooth and nail on it. Do you know what happened? A couple days ago, he slides in my Facebook messages and it's like, hey, I'm going through a separation and a divorce. You were right. I should have listened. When you are nothing but negative, like I said, when you are a bad person, one of two things is going to happen. One, people are not going to want to be around you at all. Or if you're in a position like Jeffree is, people are going to come around you and fuck with you for as long as they possibly can and then bounce. You even said, it's like, are these people really your friends? I don't believe they're really his friends. They're getting what they can get out of Jeffree and then bouncing because his energy is fucked. You can believe that or not. It's being said on Twitter and on other forms of social media, birds of a feather flock together. All of these people have proven themselves to be horrible people. And yes, they still have support. We hate to see it. But to think that they won't somehow come back to you and throw you under the bus because it's so easy for them to do it to everybody else is naivety, my dude. She throws subtle shade at Jay, which might have also been what riled him up by saying, you know, he was trying so hard to be part of Jeffree's machine. You could just tell that he just really wanted to get in there, and maybe he was feeling like the low man on the totem pole and he was taking it out on me. Baby, if you didn't have a conversation with this man, you have no idea how he felt, so you really don't have space to speak on it. We don't know why he treated you the way we did. We don't know why Jeffree treated you the way that he did. You said that he invited you on this trip specifically to shit on you. And then you still went on to defend him. Like, I get it. Like you said, you were afraid because anybody that comes against Jeffree is taking a huge risk. But at some point, you've got to think about you. You got to be able to look in the mirror at yourself and be like, can I continue to live this lie? And if you can, you see why you're in the position that you are now. Now let's go more in depth about her reaction to Jay's live stream. Like I said in my title, Jay's a trash human being. To say that because Jeffree paid for the jet, Jeffree paid for the hotel room, Jeffree paid for the Mariah Carey front row tickets, he has carte blanche to treat people any kind of way? No, baby. No. That is disgusting. That is horrid. And for you to think that's okay, oh, you deserve to be... You deserve any type of hate that's coming your way. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. Because to think that because somebody paid somebody's way, that they're allowed to treat them any type of way, what kind of horrible human being are you? That's what that is. Let's get personal. My mother used to do that to me. My mother used to say, I did this for you. So you need to pay me back, or you need to do this. That's not how you treat fellow humans. You're trash. And the fact, why are we surprised that Jeffree still hangs with this guy? Trisha's like, he just took him to Wyoming with him a couple days ago. Why are we surprised? Are we? Because we know he's trash. The whole making fun of Trisha and calling her poor and talking about her skin and her weight, really? Did you all really bring this woman all the way to Las Vegas to treat her as your punching bag? Why? Why didn't you just binge watch her YouTube channel and talk shit about her that way? Why does she have to be in your presence? Were you really that bored? Let me pay all of this money to bring this woman out here so we can laugh in her face. Are you that bored? Do you have nothing better to do? Don't you have businesses to run? Don't you have clients to worry about? Constant body shaming that this man was doing in her live stream, talking about her breasts and her lady bits. Like, what is wrong with you? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know, because that is the mark of a vile human being, to sit on camera and talk about somebody like that. I wouldn't even do that about my worst enemy. And there are people that I straight up despise on this earth, and I wouldn't sit on a live stream and talk about their bodies like that. Again, because what goes around comes back around. This is why I try my hardest to give people the benefit of the doubt. This is why I try my hardest to be good. Mainly because that's just my nature. It's in my nature to be good to everybody until they prove that they are not worthy of my goodness. I try my hardest to give love and spread love to people because of situations like this. Because when stuff like this happens, because bad things do happen to good people, the people that I have shown love to will show up for me. It was proven last year that there are people who love me because I love them, and they will show up for me. This situation right here is showing that you don't have anybody in your life that's willing to show up for you, Trisha, and that you need to sit down and think on that. You need to sit down and meditate and really reflect on why that's your situation. All of this trolling, all of the harm that you did to marginalized communities, the people that you came for unprovoked, was it worth it? Sit down in this moment. Was it worth it? Because this is what's happening. She mentions that at some point they were eating, she reached for a nacho or something. Jeffree smacked her hand and said, "Don't eat it." Why did you not square up? Why did you not raise your voice? Why did you not look at that man and give him the death glare? Like, why are you putting your hands on me? Is Jeffree that intimidating? Or was it one of those, we've all done it, where it's like, y'all, I'm going on a diet. If you see me reaching for a cookie, a piece of cake, a cupcake, a potato chip, a taco, if you see me reaching for anything that's not a vegetable or a fruit, I'm gonna need you to smack my hand. If you did not have that arrangement with Jeffree, you should have said something. You should have clocked him hard, because I will be damned if I am reaching for a plate of food and somebody does like that. I don't care if you're playing. I can hear it already. Oh, it could have been a playful tap amongst friends. Obviously, this person is not her friend. If, like Trisha says, they would walk several feet ahead of her, they would call her down to dinner, and she would get to the restaurant and they wouldn't be there. Is that a friend? Obviously not. Whew. I'm getting heated. I'm getting heated because all of this is just insanity and stupidity. And let's bring it back because she mentions it. Let's go back to Shane and Rylan. Why are you hanging out with these people if they continue to support Jeffree? Like I said, Rylan had Jeffree on his podcast and they were laughing and kikiing. Why? Why are you still defending Shane to the teeth? Let me give you another personal story to illustrate what I'm talking about. Last year, I lost one of my best friends. This was my good sis. I thought this woman was going to bake my cake for my 40th birthday. I thought this woman was going to be one of my bridesmaids whenever I got married. And now we no longer speak. Why? Because I still had a casual friendship with someone who had hurt her. I did not know that was the reason she stopped talking to me until I confronted her about it. And she told me basically what Trisha said. She's like, I'm not here to tell anybody who to be friends with. But the minute she told me that that was the issue, I blocked the person I had the casual friendship on everything. And I haven't spoken to them since. Because my friendship with my good sis was more important than that casual friendship. Because she and I had been through so much together. And the fact that even after I told her, look, I no longer talk to that person. I'm sorry. I wish you had come to me to tell me that this was hurting you. I don't want to hurt you. Your friendship means the world to me. Can we fix this? And the fact that I no longer hear from her. And no, I'm not reaching out to her because I respect boundaries. She put up a boundary. She's like, I have to separate and take care of myself. I was like, okay, when you're ready, you know where to reach me. That's it. Because that's what friends do. If you had honestly sat down and talked to Shane and been like, listen, I went to Vegas, this happened, this hurt me, then the onus is on Shane to be like, listen, I will talk to Jeffree, I'll find out what happened, and this is the tea. But he didn't do that, did he? Nope. Or, I mean, we don't know, but the fact that he was in Shane and Ryla's house speaks volumes. They don't care about you. They don't care about your feelings. And if they did, the situation would be completely different. The doxing is never acceptable because there are way too many stories out in these streets about people going to celebrities' homes and harming them. So too many stories about people going to their fave's house, lying up in their bed, getting on the grounds, getting arrested, going to people's houses and being like, hey, can I get a picture? Can I get a hug? Like, that's too much. It's not safe. That is the only thing that I have any sympathy with Trisha for. Nobody deserves to be doxxed. She said she refuses to talk to Jeffree, which I get because he treated her like shit on this trip. And there was this back and forth on Twitter where he was like, I tried to pick up and I tried to call her and she hasn't responded and that's totally within her right, but I don't want to be a part of this drama. Well, if you don't want to be a part of drama, Jeffree, what I'm going to suggest is treating people better. I don't know if you know how to do that, but I suggest you learn. Trisha, you should not have to apologize. No one should make you feel like you should have to apologize for the state of your life. Nobody should make you feel like you need to apologize for your weight. Nobody should make you feel bad for the condition of your skin. And certainly, nobody has the right to make you feel like you need to apologize for your financial situation. So you rent your house. And I rent an apartment. Granted, I don't make anywhere near as much as you. But I'll be damned if somebody makes me feel bad because I'm not driving a Benz and in a house of my own in LA. Are you serious? Now, granted, Trisha has been, one to flex. Where she's like, I just bought this, hundreds of thousands of dollar car and I spent so much on this and I bought all of this from this. Yeah. But to sit there and feel like you have to say, I'm sorry that I'm fat. I'm sorry that my skin is bad. I'm sorry that I'm poor. No. I'm glad you cut Jeffree off because nobody should make you feel that you have to apologize for any part of your existence. And I need y'all to take that lesson too. The main thing I want y'all to know is that if people will talk shit with you, please believe they will talk shit about you. No one is immune. I know we have friends that we laugh and kiki with, and there's a valid conversation that needs to be had about how the word friend is thrown around so easily. Like, you have people at different levels. You have, acquaintances, you have friends, and you have those close homies. And 9 times out of 10, your acquaintances are the people that you gossip with. But because you know that they're running around telling everybody else's business, you don't tell them yours. It's a hard lesson to learn, but one that does need to, because let's keep it a buck, let's keep it a stack, let's keep it 100. I'm only a few years older than Trisha Paytas. I think Trisha said she was 31, 32. I'm about to be 39 in April. And baby, you and I have been through things. I'm sorry that you've had to learn the hard way, but what I truly wish for you is for you to sit your ass down and look at your life and see how you can improve as a human being so that this shit doesn't happen to you anymore. You need to be better. Get yourself away from these trash people. I know you're lonely. I moved here to LA. Thankfully, I have my best friend and our former roommate who is now gone. I moved here, I don't know anybody. I was here in LA from August to March, to when the pandemic hit. I had no time to make friends. So I know what it is to be lonely. Baby girl, what you need to focus on is your relationship with your fiance, healing whatever is going on with you and H3H3, and becoming a better person. Working with your therapist to get your mental health right, so that you have a better radar, so that you can attract people who truly give a fuck about you, so that this shit doesn't happen. As I said, I have no sympathy for old girl. Seeing her cry and shake and be very upset and triggered in her video, I wasn't moved. I really wasn't. I didn't laugh at her. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't taking any joy in the situation. Let that be clear. But you got some work to do on you, baby. Now's the time to do it. I'll see y'all in the next one.